I want to nominate a man who's cool on the outside, but who burns for America on the inside. And by the way, after last night, I want a man who had the good sense to marry Michelle Obama.
Bill Clinton revved up Democrats last night, also turning up the attacks against Republicans while going well past time limits for sure. Steve Goldstein, MarketWatch Washington bureau chief, joins us. He's in Charlotte. Steve, we really saw Bill Clinton kind of at the top of his game, didn't we? And he obviously went way over time. Were there any really notable lines for you in the speech last night?
You know, in a speech that long, it's hard to really come up with just one line, you know, after he's talking for that long. I did think it was interesting, you know, his attacks on, in particular, Mitch McConnell, although he didn't refer to him by name, you know, pointing out his famous comment about trying to block Obama's agenda. But really, you know, this was classic Clinton style. And he really went through a pointed defense of a number of areas where the Republicans had been hitting Obama in Tampa and tried to make the case, not just to the Democrats who are already sold, but to centrists, why, in Bill Clinton's opinion, that, you know, a lot of these attacks were unfair. So it was, you know, a very vintage Bill Clinton, and he certainly still has it.
It's funny you mentioned the Mitch McConnell line. We actually have that sound on tape for folks when Bill Clinton referred to it. Let's roll that for people.
Also tried to work with congressional Republicans on health care, debt reduction, and new jobs. And that didn't work out so well. But it could have been because, as the Senate Republican leader said, in a remarkable moment of candor, 2 full years before the election, their #1 priority was not to put America back to work. It was to put the president out of work. Well, wait a minute. Senator, I hate to break it to you, but we're going to keep President Obama on the job.
He had some clever one-liners also about really attacking Republicans. The one that stuck out for me, don't double down on trickle down. Were there any other particular lines of attack that you think importantly will register with independent voters?
Well, that's the thing. You know, I do wonder if there were other ones. I mean, I think he tried to come to, you know, a defense, you know, on some of these issues about Medicare, you know, this issue of the $700 billion being taken out of the program. You know, he really did go into the weeds a couple times and talking about medical cost inflation, some of his analysis on the jobs creation figures being stronger for Democrats than for Republican presidents, quite interesting. But again, I think what Clinton really did is, rather than specific lines, I think it was just, you know, his general centrist pitch. And, you know, that's a pitch that President Obama's really had difficulty making, and Clinton sort of cut through that and really tried to steer in that direction. And I guess the interesting question going forward is whether this is one that the campaign will be able to pick up on, or, you know, if they'll struggle to capture the independents, and so far they are having difficulty doing that.
One issue I think that's important to them is, of course, deficits. And Bill Clinton seemed to talk tough on them, saying, look, we have to deal with them or they'll deal with us. And he basically took Republicans to task for, well, effectively saying they would lower taxes without explaining how they would make it up in lower spending costs. Now, at the same time, did he really make the case that President Obama will deal with fiscal deficits or not, in your mind?
Well, I don't actually think he did, and I think it actually was remarkable that he did talk significantly about deficits. This is a point that actually we've been writing about, the fact that pretty much every other speaker here at the DNC has not been talking about it. I mean, deficit reduction is a very difficult topic for Obama. He does find himself on the defensive, even as he tries to poke holes in Romney's tax program. And sometimes you'll get criticism that from the Democrats that the tax proposals from the Republicans will blow a hole through deficits. But you don't really get talk of a solution beyond this broad kind of balanced solution, which is code word for, well, we need tax increases as well as spending cuts. Obama is not coming to Charlotte to talk about spending cuts. So it was distinct, and it might be unusual because you don't really see the rest of the party on that message.
Okay, great, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us. Something else for us to watch for tonight when, of course, Vice President Joe Biden and President Obama will be the headline speakers at the Democratic National Convention. And be sure to check that out on WSJ Live with Alan Murray tonight at 9 p.m. You can watch those speeches and get reaction to them tonight on WSJ.com starting at 9 p.m. So be sure to join us for that.